Hey guys, it's Chelsea Coleman here with Dauntless Performance Horses, and I have Brego with me. He is, I believe he's 10. He is an Andalusian Lusitano Percheron cross, aka lots of spice. He is owned by one of my best friends, who's basically my sister, and she has had him for quite a few years. He came with some baggage. He was sold to her as a horse that was unsafe and couldn't be backed, meaning essentially every time someone would get on and they'd fall off.
Our champion now, Chelsea Coleman, Dauntless Courage.
Over the years, we've picked up on a pattern. He doesn't buck typically, he doesn't rear, he'll scoot sideways and bolt. As you can see, he's a very large animal this way and this way. So stamina levels can be real low. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna saddle him. We're gonna send him around both directions, walk, trot, canter, and the round pin. Then if all that goes well, I'll hop on him in here, get a feel for him, and then take him out and ride him in the big pasture. Now, with this horse in particular, he doesn't respond, respect, or understand bits. So I do have a bridle I'm gonna toss on, but I will be steering from the halter. He knows this very well. So this is gonna be our control. We are simply putting the bridle on so that he can learn to just travel with the bit in his mouth and come to terms with it that way. Okay, so first I'm actually going to put the bridle on. You will also notice that this horse snorts a lot. We have been in contact with someone who we do believe bred him, and they said that the snorting issue is something that all of the horses from that bloodline do. They're very vocal, if you will. So in his particular case, the snorting doesn't always mean something, which makes it interesting, because with that being said, you've got to almost kind of learn to ignore the snort, which is not what we would suggest on you know, when you're starting an anxious horse. But like we said, it's supposedly a very common characteristic of his bloodline. Like I said, I'm just gonna put this bridle on. Now it does limit some of my ability to play around with this rope halter, but another thing you'll notice with this horse is boundaries aren't really a thing. He brings that ex-boyfriend energy and kind of forgets that you're allowed to have an opinion here. So that's definitely something you got to watch. With a horse this big, he doesn't really mean anything by it, but his safety net is in your pocket, and obviously my pockets aren't that big. So that is all fine and good. We will just, like I said, keep an eye on that, stay aware of it. This horse has been ridden by many, many people. I had this horse for a few months, and I was riding him and he was popping over some little cross rails and stuff. So that was, of course, right when she got him. So he moved on and was in a couple other programs and was kind of deemed the dangerous horse. So I have a little bit of baggage, but that is okay. The biggest issues he's had of late is with the canter. It's pretty good. for the trot and the walk. His mom is an amateur. She does have experience, but not a ton of experience. So, but she takes him on trail rides and all that kind of stuff, and he's loves those, thinks they're super fun. So he's definitely not a horse that, you know, I anticipate hopping on and him just absolutely taking me for a spin. He's definitely, like I said, he doesn't really understand what the bridle is, or should I say what the bit is. He's pretty good in a hackamore. I am simply, like I had expressed earlier, I'm just putting the bridle on, no reins. And I'm doing that in the hopes that he can learn to just travel with the bit in his mouth. And then once we get past the misbehavior and the evasion of work, or whatever it might be, whether he's trying to evade work or he's just anxious, we will figure that out. We will determine the cause of it. But it's important for him to be comfortable carrying the bit in his mouth before I hop on his back and start pulling on it. So because this horse has not only been ridden by me, but it's been ridden by a few people, I am not going to worry about putting the reins on today and bridling him up in that context. But we will see what happens. And it looks like we have some friends approaching. So this poses a decent distraction, which is nice. Another thing you'll notice with this horse is he doesn't really have a wither. And by doesn't really have a wither, I mean he has no wither. That being said, we will make sure to keep ourselves as centered and balanced as possible. All right, so that we don't slippity slide. So I'm just gonna send him around. Good boy. From the information I've gathered of late, we know the history behind this horse, as I just told you, but there's been a stigma around him, which I believe is a little bit why he has not progressed, not because he's not capable of progressing, but unfortunately, as trainers, it's our job to, if we lose a horse from our program, or a horse from our program is not in our skill set and we send them off somewhere else, it's our job to provide the information needed so that no one gets hurt. But you also have to be careful as a trainer receiving and a trainer, you know, the output trainer, that the trainer getting rid of the animal doesn't make this fire-breathing dragon story up and fabricate things in a negative way. But as the receiving trainer, you also have to be able to separate that and take at face value what people tell you. Now, obviously, I've had horses in my program that have killed people, so that is definitely good information to know. But when I get on these horses, my mind is blank. There's nothing in my head. I simply get on and I say, I'm gonna give you 15 minutes or however long to tell me who you are, and I will not say a word. I will listen. So that's where you become kind of like their therapist, right? You get on them and you say, tell me what I need to know. Tell me what makes you tick. Tell me what makes you hurt. Tell me what makes you scared. And we will work through that together. So unfortunately, this horse has been through a few trainers, and a lot of these trainers have been told that he's basically a menace to society and he's not worth anyone's time, which is just simply not true. Yes, I know. Simply not the truth. You are worth all the time in the world, my friend. Yes, you tell all those viewers, snorty snort, snort, snort. That's what he would like you to know, snorty snort. Good boy. I'm just gonna let him process for a second. I'm not going to engage with this though, like it's okay, everything's fine, don't panic. He has nothing to be worried about. I know he has nothing to be worried about, and I want that, my body language to translate that. So with this horse, because he's been, I mean, look at the movement on this horse. I mean, he's anything, everything you could want. You've got to be able to see past the BS and invest the time in the places that it's investable. So for me, there was a lot of one rein stopping because he doesn't respond or respect contact in the bit very well. So there was a lot of, you know, the classic one rein stops, making sure you have steering, brakes, yada, yada, yada. But unfortunately, with this horse, in my opinion, a lot of things have gotten muddy. So when people get on him and they spin him in a circle, that doesn't help his sideway bolting issue that he had since he was young. So you've got to understand the beast that you're working with. I don't mean him literally the beast. I mean, he's got a lot of issues, but the main issue that keeps dumping people, getting people dumped, is the sideways bolting. So by one rein stopping him and spinning him in a circle, you're encouraging that sideways behavior, which also scares him because every time he does that, he loses his rider. So it's very important for him to understand that with me, I'm going to make sure we do a lot of things in straight lines, which is why I'm not going to only ride him in here today. Unless I get on and he's very uncomfortable, then we will not, obviously, we don't want to overwhelm him. Good boy. Good boy, Briggs. Oh. So I'm going to work with a lot of straight lines. Now, as you can see, this horse knows safety. He understands fully that people are his protectors at this point. He's still not 100% convinced that all humans are good. He knows that I am, but he also knows that I'll put a lot of pressure on him. So I'm going to send him this way. I'm gonna see if I can't get a couple canter steps. Canter. Canter. Good boy, Briggs. Good boy. Whoop. And ho. Ho. Good boy. He's over analyzing here. That's okay. Good job. And so there, especially on a horse like this, I told him whoa, and he stopped. Then I dropped the whip and he misread that and he went, but I didn't overreact, step in front of him, say whoa, 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 whoa. I let him figure it out, right? So what that does is that teaches him that his instinct is right. So he halfway said, oh, she moved her whip. I think I'm gonna go. No, that's not what you wanted. And I want him to have that thought. So I'm just gonna walk over here and fill this little spot that the dirt just slipped out from him here. But the biggest thing is a horse like this who appears to be incredibly insecure. Now I can tell you this horse was not born that way. I can promise you that. He has been made to be this way. So in order for us to undo that, we've got to be his hype man, and we've got to tell him, what is it? That he's great, he's awesome, which is they're all true statements, but we want to beef that up a little bit. So he knows I'm about to get on him. We want him to feel very secure within himself. And we want him to know that, good boy, nope. You're all right, he's very uncomfortable right now. And I could swing a leg over and it would make him very uncomfortable. So I'm gonna let him be uncomfortable here. Good boy, Briggs. Also not convinced these stirrups are mine, so I'm gonna take my foot out of the stirrup. Good boy. Taking a sniff. I'm gonna pop off. Good boy. He's not liking something about this. Good boy. I'm just gonna readjust this. I'm gonna try and put this bridle on underneath this halter and then slip the halter on top. And this is all good stuff too, right? So I'm sitting here and adjusting this bridle and it's giving him time to process his insecurities, which is exactly what you wanna do. Because what you can get on and bully him into being good for a day, but unfortunately, any relationship, whether it be parent-child, friend to friend, boyfriend to girlfriend, animal to owner, if you put up with and 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 put up with, eventually your allowance of boundary crossing that you allow them to continue to do starts to then annoy you. So you're giving them the wrong impression because you're allowing them to continually cross a line. And then they start to get resentful because, or you start to get resentful because they're not respecting the boundary. But for him, what I don't want is to put him into a situation where he feels like he's told me multiple times he's uncomfortable and I've just said, forget about it, you'll get over it. So there I said, I get it, you're uncomfortable, that's fine. But you don't need to be. And I will take the time to make you feel comfortable. Good boy, Briggs. That's much better. Good boy. No. And these stirrups are long, so before we go into the field, I will get off and shorten them. But I want to make sure, nope, you're fine. You're good. He's comfortable with me touching him, rubbing on him. That's scary for him. You're okay. So for this horse, I believe it's hard for him to deal with this kind of stuff because he's lost his visual, which is me. I make him feel comfortable when he can see me. And when he can't see me, he gets uncomfortable. So, good boy. Good boy. But I want him to know that if he can feel me, that's just as good. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. And hope. And as you can see, I'm not pulling on him at all. Good boy. You're okay. He's very tired already. Good job. And that was very good utilization of my leg. I had a nice spot to put it in, put my leg on, he responded. This horse is not stupid. He's just quite scared, and that's okay. We just got to teach him not to be scared. He doesn't have to save himself from anything, especially us. Good job, bub. And ho, ho. Good boy. And that was good. We got some horses walking up. So I'm just gonna move him on from the distraction. There we go. Good boy. He's still distracted, not a problem. I don't care about this pace change. That's another issue we've had with some other trainers, is they want to stay on top of, don't let him speed up, don't let him slow down. But the horse has no concept of his mouth. So when you fiddle too much, you can get yourself in trouble. So I've barely pulled on him, and you can see that just with some neck pressure and to the halter, completely understands what that is. Now he's really stiff to the right. That's okay. Just something that we have to keep in our information bank. And ho. And I wonder if, nope. And we have a backup. Look at that. Good job. All right, you want to open the gate and let us out? Okay, so here, he knows this is not his home. We trailer here. He saw the gate open. He knows we're leaving. This will probably be a little bit of an ordeal. I'm gonna just try and get him comfortable here. Meaning, I'm not worried about me. I don't want him to think that he's got to get out of here before he loses the chance, right? So, I'm just gonna see if I can't. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. Okay. All right, on we go. Now, the biggest things you want to be careful when you're exiting safety zone into open is, one, make sure you have a little bit of their attention. You're not going to be able to captivate their entire capacity of attention, but it is important that he knows that I'm still up here. See, he dropped his head there. I fiddled with the halter a little bit. He dropped his head, no problem. I'm gonna touch his butt, make sure he's still comfy with that. He says, no problem. He's looking around. I want him to look around. You don't wanna bury their head to their chest. Oh, that was scary. You don't wanna bury their head to their chest, because then they focus on you, and if they lose concentration for 1 second, they explode or panic or freak out. And we don't want him to feel like he needs to do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm gonna go to kind of the heart of the field. I don't wanna stand next to the gate, because what I'm going to do, I'm not going to have steering, and I'm fully aware of that. And that's the goal. I wanna be able to send him out and let him canter a straight line, trot a straight line, move in a straight line, and him stop when I say whoa. Or engage lightly in the reins, which are, it's just a lead rope tied to a rope halter, right? So I'm gonna get him away from the gate so that he has the opportunity to go forward. And again, the point of this for me is we've got to get rid of the the disobedience that keeps dropping people, which is the spin, right? I believe that he has acquired that through training at a young age, of every time I'm in trouble, I get spun to one direction or another. So for me, that's something that on a horse that's built this way, if he spins, he's built like a barrel. So if he spins and your tack's not secured, or it doesn't fit perfectly, which nothing will fit him perfectly, or your bareback, you're coming off left or right because he's very round. So now I'm gonna ask for forward. He's already looking left and right. I'm grabbing some mane, staying very light in the contact. Also being aware of holes and things in the field. This is a very flat field that's very safe. It's a very big field. And this is overwhelming for horses, especially one like him who is very herd bound. And that's the point, right? I'm his safety zone, and I want him to know that. Good boy. Also, don't be naive to think that little things that you might not notice won't still terrify them. So it's my job to encourage, good boy. And there's some nervousness. And his typical MO, there you see he's real stiff to the right, is he wants to shoot forward a couple steps and then he wants to stop. Which, again, as we've talked about with the Mustang, good boy, that is how people fall off. There we go. Just trying to get him to soften to the right. I'm gonna keep him this way. I don't want to canter him back towards the barn. And ho, no contact. Good boy. Back up for me. Good job, big boy. I know. Okay, good job. Yes, that's my foot. All right. So now I'm gonna get him to the farthest corner of the field. I'm not gonna go to the far side because that is where the truck is. I am, however, good boy. He's looking for a direction here, right? This is where the straightness is scary. Good boy, you got it. You're doing great. Good job, bub. Good job, Briggs. And light contact, he's nervous, that's okay. And ho, 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 ho. Good boy, what a star, good job. Good boy, so you could see there, straight is scary. So now, we're gonna go again. Good boy. I'm gonna keep him straight as much as I can. I don't care if he's running off. Like I said, he has no stamina, so he will stop. And ho, ho. Good boy. And you can't really see it from that angle, but that's a direct straight line to our trailer. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. Not gonna let him turn yet. See, now you see he's got no gas. He has no idea where he's going. And that's perfect. Good job, big man. Yeah, good boy. And oh, oh. Now what I'm gonna ask of him to finish off is just a nice little sitting trot, minimal contact, straight as possible. And ho. Good job. And back again. Good job, my dude. And now you can see the steering has gotten much easier. I'm not having to use nearly as much contact. And again, this is not bit contact, it's through the halter. Good job, buddy. Jumps are not scary. Nope. Nope. There you go. Good boy. Exactly. You did great. Your friends are proud. What is that? And this is the kind of stuff that gets lost on a horse like him who has baggage. This stuff becomes unimportant, but this horse is so hyper-focused on being nervous and wanting to be with his buddies that any distraction, not distraction, but anything from the new world that I can show him, I'm gonna. Because right now he lives in a very small box and he currently is anxious about all the items in that small box. You startled yourself. Good boy. You did a great job, big boy. Hey guys, so this is a little clip from fast forward to a couple months after he's been through a little bit of training. And I don't have any footage of his spin/bolt under saddle. What we have here and what you're gonna see in this clip is, as I said, this is a couple months after he's been in training down in Florida. The episode you're seeing is previously recorded. So at this point in his training, he's great with the rope halter steering. We've reintroduced the bridle with a very soft, nice D-ring snaffle. You'll notice in this video a few things. One, I'm riding in bareback. I'm doing that because, as I stated at the beginning of the episode or throughout the episode, this is not a malicious horse. He's a very sweet horse. And I had this horse in training when he first came from his, what we'll call, childhood home. When Bailey first got him, he came straight to me. So when I had him, he was walk, trot, canter, popping over some cross rails. And then when he left me is when the behavior came back. So the bolting and spinning was always an issue, but we were able to work through that initially when he first came to me years ago. And now, as you'll see we have worked through that thus far since he's been in training, which is why we've evolved to the bareback. Now, a lot of you might ask, why would you get on a horse that bolts and spins bareback? Well, the answer to that question is, as I stated before, he's not a dangerous horse, he's not a mean horse. It's simply, he's a very reactive horse, and you'll notice in this video, I am bareback. I also have a bridle on. He's being ridden in the bridle, and you'll see him basically touch his nose to his chest the majority of the time. Now that is because he's been ridden and had a lot of really harsh bits in his mouth throughout his entire life. Obviously, I have not done that with him, but before he went, was purchased by Bailey, there was a tough bit in his mouth, and then after, some of the cowboys had you know, cowboys are known for liking heftier bits. It's a Western horse thing. So you can see we're trying to evolve from the over curling of the head and neck to allowing him to just kind of stretch his head and neck a little bit, but obviously that takes a very long time. When you see this clip, know that no, I do not have heavy contact on the bridle. The reins are actually quite loose most of the time. That's just how he chooses to carry his head when he has a bit in his mouth and he can feel that there's contact on the bridle. Second thing you're gonna see is you will be able to witness the spin in the video, and I do come off. Now, he managed to get me off twice in a 10-minute time period. We'll show both little clips. And what he does is he's very, very stiff to the right, which you'll see that in the episode. That holds true from the beginning. He's much softer to the right now, that you'll also see in this video, but he spins to the right always. He very rarely spins left. He 99% of the time will spin right. Now, you can see in this video, he walk trot canters around beautifully, and then not until I reach my hand, I grab my reins with one hand and reach behind my leg with my hand and touch his back, does he immediately react and spin. Now, if you'll look back to the beginning of the episode when I get on him, immediately when I touch him behind the saddle, he has the same reaction. He doesn't spin because we're in a round pen, but you can see him go forward and become very uncomfortable. So part of this whole bareback shenanigans, we'll call it, was the horse needs to be exposed to a lot of things, and being ridden bareback is something that is definitely going to be happening in his life. This horse has been known to become very anxious and upset when someone hits the ground. Unfortunately, I can't guarantee that no one's ever going to fall off of him again. So I did, in a sense, put myself in a situation where I knew coming off was a possibility, and that was going to be able to be used as a teaching moment. And now, what I don't want you guys to do if you have a horse that gets nervous when people fall off is purposefully get yourself bucked off. But essentially, that's kind of what I did here. It's very, very hard for me to come off when I'm in a saddle, especially a Western saddle, and especially on a horse that doesn't buck or rear. So the only way I could actually simulate this was basically to ride him bareback. So that's what you'll see here. You'll see me come off twice, and then at the end, you'll see him work out of it and walk trot canter around quietly bareback with no issues. The other explanation as to why we hopped on him bareback was it was thunderstorming all day, and we had about a 10-minute, 20-minute time frame where there wasn't rain and wasn't thunder. So in order to get things done, we capitalized on that opportunity because there was a lot of teaching moments that could have arose, which they ended up doing, and it all ended up fine. But again, the horse has issues with people hitting the ground, so I was able to hit the ground twice. I got on him a third time, and he was fine. He's still a little anxious, but we were able to work through it, which is the key. 2, you'll notice he really overcurls his head and neck. The bit that's in his mouth is about as gentle of a bit that you can get. It's a D-ring, simple D-ring snaffle with a very nice padded bridle that's not, there's no tight noseband or tight cheek pieces or anything like that. Very, very simplistic stuff. He is in his fly gear. That is not any of his issues. A lot of the horses we will ride in a fly mask when the weather is not super hot for it, just because down here in Florida the flies are horrible. And the fly boots, again, we were trying to get things done quickly so we could beat the rain. So that's just a little bit of explanation. Enjoy watching me get bucked off. It doesn't happen often, but we love it when we get it on camera. Can you back up a couple steps? Good job, big boy. Nope. All right, and I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, it doesn't matter where you come from, it only matters where you're going. We'll see you next time.